bringing you the truth, or something like the truth. This is the Bottom Line Podcast from 100.7 The Score.
I'm Mike Hebert, owner of Cantex Roofing and Construction. Every day is game day, and we'll get it right when it comes to your roofing, construction, windows, and mirrors. Call Cantex Roofing and Construction today. Together, we are one serving you.
Bottom line, 100.7 The Score, Double T, sportsnetwork.com, 100.7 The Score mobile app. The unmitigated gall is where we left off with Chris Snead.
Right off the bat on the Snead line, they said there is no gall.
I'm just trying to get you caught back up.
There's no gall worse than unmitigated gall. Well, here's the thing.
I don't know, man. You ever been on a beach with a bunch of seagulls? That can be bad too. Especially if you're eating nachos.
You have, in this deal right here, I think what I learned here, what I have learned here in the last 72 hours is how much of a threat the rest of the college football world thinks you are.
Okay.
And you have become a legitimate threat because I have not seen now granted, we are not absolving Brendan Sorsby of anything. He messed up. He screwed up. He screwed the pooch and he knows it. And he got illegal.
Did he?
Yeah, he bet on he touched the third rail.
Did he?
Yes, he did. He touched the third rail.
No,
he did it.
Because usually touching the third rail involves like death, and there's no death here.
Well, the third rail of NCAA athletics is gambling, and what we've learned. When I talk about the unmitigated gall of some of these people, I mean, let's look in our own backyard right now. Kansas State. The Kansas State athletic director, what was that? Gene? What's his name? I forgot. This guy, he's talking about how it's blanking blank.
Gene Taylor.
Yeah, Gene Taylor, how it's blanking blank for this ruling to come out in this year.
This year?
2026, which is not yet half over, my friends. In this year. This calendar year, January to be exact. Kansas State's women's basketball player Tess Heel was held out of a rivalry game due to an NCAA violation. Where did that issue come from?
You tell me.
The eligibility of her signing a contract with a professional team in Australia while still participating in college athletics.
Okay.
Should we cancel games with Kansas State? Because she eventually played the rest of the year. She signed a professional contract. She did.
When did she start getting paid for said contract?
I don't know. Nor do I care.
Okay.
All I know is that they went to the NCAA with an issue. Oklahoma. Joe Castiglione spent a lot of time talking about how Texas Tech was acting in this situation. Hey, Joe, you remember Owen Heineke? The kid that sued the NCAA in Oklahoma State court for an extra year of eligibility this year? Did you forget that, Joe? That happened this year. This calendar year, Joe, which is not yet half over. Did you forget about that? The NCAA had counted his brief participation in Division I lacrosse at Ohio State against his collegiate football eligibility. Yeah, it wasn't gambling. But the things that you're accusing Texas Tech of, using the courts to do this, now granted, it was for gambling. Yes, we all know that. But these schools, Kansas State, Oklahoma, they act as if, they were just sitting at home just reading their Bibles, polishing their halos, and this Beelzebub Texas Tech kicks in the door and tells you all, this is how it's going to be today now. Oh, by the way, 2007, Oklahoma forced to vacate all of its 2005 football victories. Why? 3 players received nearly $17,000 in unearned wages from a local car dealership. Do you remember that, Big Red Sports?
I do remember Big Red Sports.
Gosh. The NCAA also failed as a failure to monitor.
If you also know, as well as I do.
No.
If that we keep going back.
Oh, yes.
If we keep, and you've gone back to the Big Red Spread, which is why I'm bringing this up.
I am not yet done, my friend.
You've gone back to the Big Red
yet
Spread.
Done, my friend.
That was a different age.
And
a different time.
You know what? I say it again. Man has not invented a meter that can measure how little I care what age it was in. Because
then Texas Tech is also as guilty as others?
Oh, we are. We are. And no one's saying we're not. But however, I just, what we have not done is cast stones at anybody. Remember Joe Castiglione? How many times did you take Texas Tech to court to get Baker Mayfield eligible after you basically stole him from Texas Tech? Joe, we'll wait. We'll wait for the answer.
To 3?
I'm
thinking
it's
3.
More than it
I'm
was.
trying to
More,
remember.
it was more than once.
Well, yeah,
I know that.
I'm thinking it was 3. But that's the thing. Someone can tell me the correct
guy
answer.
who was actually the bastion of integrity. How many times did your school call Texas Tech and say, "Hey, can we just let him out of this deal?" How many times did you call, Joe? How many times?
I don't know.
It was more than once. It was more than twice.
Did he call Tech?
Yes.
And they said no.
And we said no. Why? Because he was our athlete. We're not done. We're not done.
I just would like you to. One thing we'll get back. There is zero defense for this incident.
I did not say we were defending
this is why I'm letting weird. This is not about defending anybody. This is about having the pot call the kettle black.
That's exactly right. I am not saying that Brendan Sorsby is in any way not guilty here. Okay? I am not saying that the kid is not wrong. The kid is not this. The kid is in the wrong. 100% in the wrong. And as an alumni, as a booster, as a donor of this school, as a graduate with my family, 6-time graduates of this university, I'm soured. And I felt even embarrassed a little bit. However, when these athletic directors started talking, I flipped that and I got angry. And you know what? They're talking about the integrity of the game. The University of Michigan had a guy they were paying money to go sit in the stands and steal signs and then bring that information back to the head coach, who, I don't know where this information came from. I had no knowledge of this. Connor, your tickets this week will be in section 113.
Break your binoculars.
But every one of these guys is casting stones now at Texas Tech. And here's the point. The point of this is, if we were the regular 6-6, 7-5 Texas Tech that they're used to, nobody would give 2 blanks about this. The bottom line is, you're the 12-1 Texas Tech Red Raiders that played in the CFP last year. You just signed the number 1 transfer portal quarterback in the country. You've got all the money in the world that you want, and you have kids taking. Why do you think Georgia's so upset with us right now? Why do you think Georgia's so upset with us? Anyone want to talk about the 2 or 3 5-stars from the state of Georgia that picked Texas Tech over Georgia? You think that has anything to do with it? You think Kirby Smart's all of a sudden just decided that he wants to get more? Hey, let's talk about Georgia for a second. The most severe and highly publicized issue facing this program, multiple players have been arrested for speeding, racing, and reckless driving, including 2023 in January, following the team's national championship parade. The parade was barely done. A fatal crash occurred having a high-speed street race. An offensive lineman and a recruiting staffer were killed, while other individuals in the car were injured. Sure, Kirby, cast some more stones. I mean, I'm just wondering, Kirby, while you were having your Bible study, where were these guys at?
Question. Real quick, question off the chat line. Answer this. Should he play for us?
I don't think he should. But that's not what this discussion is about.
I'm having them ask the question because I'm just letting you get to it.
I don't think he should. However,
do we have Achilles Dailies? If we don't, we don't.
We don't have Achilles Dailies.
Okay.
And if
we will get back to
Achilles
this.
Dailies, we would not do the Achilles Dailies right now because
you're still going. We will continue to let Snead go. On the other side, it is the bottom line on 100.7 The Score.
Getting to the point, but taking the scenic route to get there. This is the Bottom Line Podcast from 100.7 The Score.
Bottom line, rolling on 100.7 The Score, TSportsNetwork.com, and the 100.7 The Score mobile app. Very quick reset here, Chris. As I've only got one more here with you, but I want to make sure that the chat line understands what you are saying, because I feel like there is some confusion, and I'm going to give you the opportunity to clarify that in just one-word answers for 3 questions.
Got it.
Should Sorsby play for Texas Tech?
No.
Are you defending Sorsby's actions?
No.
Is this about the universities and the pot calling the kettle black?
Absolutely, 100% yes.
You may now continue, because you had more examples, sir.
Yeah. This, and if you are confused as to where I stand on this, I'm to this day, I do not want Brendan Sorsby to run out of that tunnel for Texas Tech. And now I understand he's probably gonna, and that's fine. Do I think he should? No. I mean, it's, the inside of my ring says strive for honor.
It does.
And I'm trying to, I'm trying to figure out where. Now, do I think that Texas Tech have they done right by the kid? Absolutely.
Yes.
Are we the one school in this three-legged stool that has done right by the kid? Yes. Should we have been the first school to do something right by this kid? No. My question would be, hey, Cincinnati, you guys knew about this also. Indiana, you guys also knew about this. Why haven't you done anything about this? And while we're
let me get a 30.
Yeah.
Do we know Indiana knew?
I think we found out that they did know.
I don't know. I'm asking.
Yeah.
I find it very hard to believe that Cincinnati didn't know.
Oh, yeah.
With the time that he was there.
Yeah.
I am willing to concede, if this is the case, that Indiana didn't know.
It's potential that they didn't know, but we're understanding that they did.
I know that he was betting there,
yeah,
and bet on Indiana, which is where my biggest issue in all of this is, because that's the number one rule in every sport, everywhere. Mm-hmm. You cannot bet on your own team in your own sport. Take that one away, and I have a different conversation about what we're talking about today. But I don't know for sure, and someone can send me a link and verify that they did, in fact, that we have verified proof that they did know.
Yeah.
We know that he bet. We don't know that they knew he bet.
Yeah.
I will find it very hard to believe.
My issue is, and always will be, is that, Texas Tech is wearing this. And rightfully so. We paid the kid $5 million to come here and be our quarterback. Did we know he had this issue? Remains to be seen. I would think that someone had to know. Someone had to know.
The report that we have heard is that Tech found out a couple of weeks, 3 weeks before it was announced that he was going to rehab. Yep. So right around spring football time.
I also think it's kind of dubious that this all came to light right after the transfer portal closed. I think the timing of this announcement that came out, this information hitting the airwaves, was at the very least, the very least dubious. The timing of that. Because, if you wanted to hurt Tech, if you were upset, and now granted, Brendan Sorsby, I learned a lot about him and the fact that, he had a $1 million
buyout
that he
didn't buy out.
Thumbed his nose at. that told me a lot about him as and the character. That gives me pause. If he does that to them, would he do that to us? And why would we think that he wouldn't do that to us? Because as I understand,
they'll do it with you.
Yeah,
they'll do it against you.
It's like the gossip group. If they'll gossip about other people standing there with you, they'll gossip about you when you're not there. So I just, for those of you who are wondering where I stand on this deal, I am not in favor of Brendan Sorsby taking a single snap for Texas Tech. I mean, just because he got a judge to say that he would be injured, and get an injunction that allowed him to play because he would be injured, doesn't mean I think he's right, and doesn't mean I think he's off the hook. I think he still did bad things, and he bet over $90,000. Betting $1. I am. Me and betting. I don't understand it. I don't get it. I don't understand people that do it.
I am so less upset about the 90,000 bets, the $90,000 on bets, the betting on balls and strikes in the Cincinnati Reds game, the tennis, all of those combined that aren't the bets he made in Indiana. It's night and day difference for me.
Yeah, one bet on college football is too many.
Yeah, and there was more than one.
Yeah, and the fact that he bet on his team while he was on that team, that's inexcusable for me.
And if you want to,
I can't get past that. And people over at Texas Tech are going to be upset with me for saying that. And you know what? I don't care, because I am going to live by the 3 words written on the inside of my ring, and I'm going to strive for honor. And that's where I'm going to fall on this. And if that makes me a bad person in the eyes of some people over at Texas Tech, then I guess so be it. If you want to destroy me over that, I guess so be it. But I tell you what I'm going to do. I've said on this station before, I'm a Red Raider. My university degree says Texas Tech University. It does not say Brendan Sorsby University.
Correct.
I am, it also does not say Texas Tech Football University.
No, it doesn't.
At the end of the day, because here's the thing. I just got back from Kansas City, and I went up to a thing from my new employer. And you know what? When we were going around the room, and then, we were introducing ourselves, where we're from, where we went to college. You know what happened?
They were asking you about Patrick Mahomes?
No, they certainly weren't. I'm having to defend my university over Brendan Sorsby. I didn't sign up for that. But that's the position that we've been put in as a university, as an alumni fan base. And that's why when you see people saying it's embarrassing, we should cut ties, that's the reason why they say that. Now, I know that Brendan Sorsby can help us win football games. I understand that. I get it. But you know what? What price your integrity? What price your integrity? Because that's the thing. It's like when people accuse, officials, and I'm going to always come back to officiating for me. When they accuse officials of cheating or saying that you're biased, that means you're saying that you're cheating for that school. And if you'll cheat in this instance, what else will you cheat on? You cheat on your taxes. You cheat on your wife. You cheat on. We all break the speed limit. But all the other things in the world that, what else will you cheat on? And the one thing I've got in my life is my integrity. And I can't let that be taken away from me. So that's the thing. So yeah,
you're also the only one that can.
Yeah.
you have to make the choice to lose your integrity.
Yeah,
for whatever aspect it may be with.
Yeah, and I have to believe what I'm watching is real. And you know what? In the back of my mind, it's always going to be there. It's always going to be there. So, but my intent of what I was saying in those previous 2 segments had nothing to do with me supporting Brendan Sorsby. It has everything. And my anger, my misplaced anger now, I guess people would say misplaced anger.
I don't think it's misplaced.
My anger went from the fact that they were upset with Brendan Sorsby to attacking Texas Tech. And, we're just, we're catching strays now because now it's like, hey, well, here's what we're going to do. They already didn't like us because we got ourselves invited to the ball, okay? We were Cinderella, and the fairy godmother showed up and gave us the ticket to the ball.
Yes.
Okay? And what they're trying to do is get our clock to strike midnight.
Along with everybody else's except theirs.
Exactly. It is a club, my friends. If you want to see, the Blue Blood Club is a club. It is a private. You think this is the most exclusive fraternity on the campus over there at Big State University. Okay? And if you're a Signy, Mohammed, and Jugdish, and you're trying to get into that fraternity, they're going to put you in this other room over here. And they're going to try to put you in this room over here with Mississippi State and Utah State and Colorado State and Kentucky and those guys like that in football. You know, in NC State, they're going to try to have you guys. That's the Signy, Mohammed, and Jugdish of those guys. Of those. They don't want Texas Tech to get over there and hang out there with Chet and Chad and Todd and all those other guys. And they don't want you in that room. They want you hanging out with Signy, Mohammed, and Jugdish.
Now that you're fired up, sir, I'm going to let you hang out with Chois Woodman for the rest of the day. How's that sound?
It's okay. But make no mistake, I am not defending Brendan Sorsby.
No, I'm letting you hang out with Choice. It'll be fun. It's the bottom line. 100.7 The Score.
Bringing you the truth, or something like the truth. This is the Bottom Line Podcast from 100.7 The Score.
Happy to be part of your Wednesday. This is the Bottom Line on 100.7 The Score and the 100.7 The Score mobile app. Chois Woodman, Chris Snead, Lucas White, yours from the First United Bank studio. Y'all keep your thoughts, your comments, questions, whatever you got coming in on the Yates Flooring Center chat line. We appreciate those today. Before we return to some more thoughts from the chat line, let's go ahead and get to our question of the day.
Time now for Jamie's question of the day on 100.7 The Score. Brought to you by someone not named Jamie and presented by Connecticut of West Texas. Life's hard, your water shouldn't be.
All right, Christopher.
Mm-hmm.
Did you happen to hear the question of the day on the morning drive?
I didn't know that was flying.
Okay. That's good. So I'm going to recycle.
Nice.
Wednesday's recycling day around here. I think Jamie already determined that. I don't know if it was Wednesday or not. This is a sidestep from the Brendan Sorsby stuff. Don't worry, we'll get back. The season is over. The 25-26 academic athletic year is over for Texas Tech. If you could go back and change...
Actually, it's not.
Well, I know it's July 1st, but...
No.
Oh, no, we
Track
still
and
have
field.
track.
Track and
Sorry,
field's going this
my
weekend.
bad,
Nationals,
Coach Kitley.
come on, man.
My bad, Coach Kitley. I knew that. I talked about it
They
earlier.
just named the street after the guy. You're going to disrespect him just like that.
Okay, I'm going to say...
Chois Woodman hates
Not
West
at all
Kitley.
true. Not at all true.
Loves Baylor, hates West Kitley.
It's almost over, so we're close
You got a
to
green
done.
shirt on today.
This is... Okay. It's almost over, Snead.
Yeah.
If you can go back and change anything, any one thing, your one answer you can't give is, say, Texas Tech wins a national championship in X.
Start Nigeria Kennedy in the first game of the World Series.
But you can change the result of a game, just an outright result.
I can?
Yes, you can change the
Texas
result.
Tech beats Oregon in the CFP Orange Bowl.
That's what you're going with?
Yes.
You're not choosing any softball? You're not choosing any?
No, actually, if you want to really change a trajectory, you win that game.
And then you play Indiana after that. But
I thought Texas Tech matched up pretty well with Indiana.
I did too. But okay, so that's your answer.
Yeah, I'm going to go that direction.
I mean, that's probably the most popular answer. I would say if we're playing match game here,
Yeah.
or Family Feud. Family Feud. That was the number one answer.
The second thing would be start Nigeria.
Oh, you can't go second before Lucas has given his first.
Oh, my bad.
Okay,
I just forgot.
Lucas.
I would go back to the basketball season and that beat down that Bama gave Tech. Yeah, that was
Change the result
really
of that.
Changed the result to that from that. So that was really bad.
My number one answer is the Oregon game, but I would actually change something else from the basketball season, and it's
Toppin doesn't get hurt.
Toppin doesn't get hurt, because that changes trajectory of everything to me. I don't think you're playing Bama in that first round. You're not. You're going to be a better seed. You've won more games down the stretch.
To challenging for the Big 12 championship.
Yeah, you were, and then
you were trying to make a run.
3. You would have been probably at least a 3 seed in the tournament instead of a 5. Yeah, I would 6. What did we end up as? 6, right? NCAA tournament seed.
We were 6-11 game.
It was 6. We were 5.
We were
a 5 seed. Okay.
Oh yeah, we were a 5-12.
Bama was a 4.
We played Akron.
That's right. Everybody wanted to.
That was the trendy pick was the Akron over Tech.
So that's where I would.
And
that's my second pick. I would take the Oregon result, but any singular results.
Singular result?
It would be the Oregon one, but JT Toppin not getting hurt affects probably several games for your basketball team. So Nyjah would be.
I would start Nyjah in the first game.
I would too.
I think.
Or I'd just say you win that game.
I think though the softball world wanted that, and I think that potentially, I don't know this for a fact. I wonder if there was a little mental letdown from the team because it didn't start that way, and the body language, her body language that night, just seemed to be off.
And she's normally
the ultimate team player.
Rah-rah. Yeah.
And I think that she probably went into that game thinking, I'm going to start this game, and I wonder if he told her just hours before, said, I want to start Caitlin, and I wonder did he? I'm not going to say this because it comes off as criticizing a coach that's gone nothing but successful here, and I've not won squat in softball, so.
Texter here. Back to the Sorsby stuff. You're correct. FanDuel is more like an arcade game or PS4. I mean, it's targeted at young men.
It is 100% targeted at young men, and it's like these vape pens, that are out there that are targeting kids.
It's terrible stuff.
It is, and and hey, what do they care? They're making their money.
That's exactly right. And FanDuel's making tons of money. They don't care if people have made up their age or whatever to get on. And I'm calling out FanDuel. Lance says, nice Kalshi ad. I think we have ads running right now that are Kalshi, which is it's not technically sports betting. It's sports trading, which is Texas's loophole to get in.
Somebody had a friend of mine, an official. I won't say his name, but he had a
Kalshi.
No, not Kalshi, but it was the other one here.
Robinhood.
Mm-hmm. He had a Robinhood account, and the league called him up and said, "Yeah, you got to close that.
You got to get rid of it because now they're letting sports trades in. Yeah, there's loopholes.
I just, I don't picture myself holier than that because I don't gamble. I look at it like this: I don't have it to lose. And the money I have, I don't want to give it away for something dumb.
And that's fine. And I think a lot of people share the same thought process as you. But I also understand the Brendan Sorsby side. There's a lot of people that there's a thrill to it. There's a thrill that can become addicting. And because he's not placing giant bets out there, wasn't initially placing giant bets. It's about the thrill. It's about thrill seeking.
I feel even kind of dirty being critical of it because I think of all the things in my life that I'm addicted to. I mean, I can't go 3 hours without having a dip, So I'm sorry. I mean, and it's an addictive substance, and I.
Did you stick your tongue down when you said that?
But I mean, you know what? I mean,
it is. Light of it.
It is. No, it's not making light of it.
Oh,
but
I am.
The point being is like. My wife would tell me, you have a real problem with shopping in the middle of the night on Amazon. You have a real problem with
addiction,
that.
Sure.
You have a real problem with that. And the stuff just randomly showing up at my house, and it's like, and I don't even remember where it came from. That's a real thing for me. And, either some supplement or some shirt or some
insomniac shopping.
Yeah. I'll be awake in the middle of the night and she'll look over at me in the middle of the night and she'll see that photo and she goes, "Oh, brother." He goes, "What's going to show up at our house in 2 days?"
Now?
Yeah.
Here's our SEC troll. Give it a rest, Snead. Texas Tech isn't taking recruits out of Georgia's backyard. They are paying them, Chief.
Shut up, dude. Okay? I mean, yes, they are. Yes, they are.
They're taking them and they're paying them.
They're taking them and they're paying them. And your
Just
coach
like Georgia's paying their recruits.
And Kirby Smart is ticked about it, which is the only reason he's talking about it. And I know you just feel like you just got me fired up. You really didn't. Your act is getting old. Okay? Yeah, so do something different, dude. Just go do something different.
This one from the chat line. Our coaches have shown several examples of supporting these athletes as they struggle with adversity. The outfielder on the baseball team with the alcohol arrest, the softball player who went to drug treatment, both of whom came back and were assets to their team afterwards. Let's hope this kid can overcome and be productive. I hope so. Look, I hope for Brendan Sorsby's life that this was a huge wake-up call, that he's able to learn from it and have a productive life that also helps others in this situation. I hope that that's what the fruit of this, regardless of what he does as a Red Raider, which he's going to have a ton of pressure on him as a quarterback, by the way. Regardless of what he does, I hope he's able to help others through this. Hope good comes out of a bad situation. It's the bottom line. The dad joke or two your way next on 100.7 The Score.
Bringing you the truth, or something like the truth. This is the Bottom Line Podcast from 100.7 The Score.
All right, I'm not even going to mess around with this. There's a lot of athletic directors out there right now that are jumping on this bandwagon right now and taking their shots at Kirby and the athletic department, and they're doing that because this is their opportunity to get back at Texas Tech, and in some instances try to discredit Texas Tech and maybe even utilize this for a chance to smear the name of Texas Tech when it comes to recruiting. Mm-hmm. And I think it goes deeper than this. This gets into the NIL realm. It gets into the quote unquote pay for play and everything that Texas Tech has done a much better job than these schools have done. And those who are speaking loudest are the ones who I seem to be the least able to do anything about it from an NIL standpoint, Kansas State. So I think that's the genesis of a lot of this misplaced anger and this ridiculous venom horse name. Tell me I'm wrong.
That
there's a lot of this isn't necessarily about the ruling. They're utilizing the ruling that Brendan Sorsby got to take shots at Texas Tech.
I think you can be right and you can be wrong here.
That's fair.
I think that it's both. That it's both. So I think you're right that it factors in. I don't think it's the main reason or it's the only reason. But there's absolutely basis to the fact that you're winning recruiting battles in Georgia and Georgia takes the shot. There's absolutely the fact that Kansas State is fallen behind where Texas Tech is when they were on top a couple of years ago, and they're frustrated because they're like, that's bleeping, you know what? Because we thought we were going to have a chance this year, and now Texas Tech's back with a quarterback. So I think it factors in, no doubt. If Tech was a less successful team, this would be much less of a headline.
Yep.
It'd still be in the headlines, but it would be much less of a headline. It'd be much less reactionary. If Brendan Sorsby was not a successful quarterback, if he was battling for a QB job, this would be less of a headline. But I also do think it has to do with where we're at in college athletics. And this was eye-opening to a lot of people. I think there's a lot of fringe or just casual college sports fans out there. Saw those with Mike Greenberg, saw it with Pat McAfee, saw it with several out there that are just very casual to it. They're pro sports first people. But I think it was eye-opening to a lot of them. We've known this for a while, but a lot of them on how little power the NCAA has. It hasn't had power for a decade, but it's just another one of those. And it scares people because they're like, okay, well, what if this person does this or that? And we're not in those cases. You're in this one right here.
Mm-hmm.
You have the facts in front of you. But I'm getting sidetracked. Anyway, I think you're right. I think it factors in. I don't think it is the only reason. I think there's real anger behind where you're at in college athletics. And it's just directed towards Tech. Evangelina?
I agree.
Okay. I think Snead, where do you go from here? If you're Sorsby, if you're Texas Tech, I think we saw Texas Tech's next move. That was Kirby Hocutt.
Mm-hmm.
And I like it. I don't think you will have some thought was or question Shehan Jaraja and others are questioning if Brendan Sorsby would go ahead and pull his name out. Just basically let him be the one that backs away. But you never want to bow to a mob.
No, you don't, because then what else will you bow to?
Yeah, because you want to talk about precedent setting. That'll set a precedent. If you let a mob win, then that's not a good thing. To the AIDS Flooring Center chat line, the problem, this is from Bobby Hot Dogs, and I think I agree with a lot of this. The problem is that gambling has been normalized by society, but the NCAA rule book has not caught up with society yet. The enforcement no longer fits the crime. The punishment for gambling should not be harsher than the punishment for domestic assault, rape, or murder. I bet you'd be hard-pressed to find any program that has not had someone gambling online at some point. Texts are here. The idea, these are back-to-back texts, the idea that gambling is the cardinal sin, that is the absolute line that no one can cross is just insane to me. Georgia has had 8 players arrested for DUIs in the last 12 months.
Yep.
Players have committed acts of violence against women, burglary and theft, and trafficking and even killed people with much lighter penalties, and certainly without schools refusing to schedule an outrage from the general public.
And that right there, that outrage, that misplaced outrage, that outrage factory being built by these schools, that right there tells you you've got them scared to death.
But that's
you're about to become a powerhouse monster.
That's where my anger was yesterday, and I know yours as well.
That's where mine got to today.
It's just reading through and seeing all of this and seeing the reactions. And
what did Nebraska say?
I just think they put out a memo in their athletics department that no one can schedule Texas Tech.
This is the same university that in 2012 they were placed on probation and fined $38,000 for allowing 492 student athletes, that's all of them, to receive supplemental books and supplies that exceeded the NCAA allowed limits. They also had misconduct cases. 2 redshirt freshmen, after an internal investigation, found them responsible for violating the university's sexual misconduct policy. On the field, the team has had occasionally dealt with off-the-field incidents, such as the suspension of 2 star players following a nightclub altercation. But by all means, let's make sure that we don't schedule. Maybe we shouldn't schedule Nebraska in anything. Oh, by the way, before we say, well, that's just an isolated incident, remember Nebraska? I mean, we're going to go way back.
Oh, there's plenty in the way back.
Yeah, let's go way back. September 1995. Lawrence Phillips, remember him?
Mm-hmm.
if you don't remember him, he was the star running back for the University of Nebraska that decided to drag his girlfriend down the steps by her hair. And then, the great Dr. Tom Osborne, running for governor, running for senator, he reinstated him. Halfway through the season, in order for him and be back in time to play in the Fiesta Bowl. Because these bastions of integrity that are now passing judgment at Texas Tech, my university now. This is the same university that allowed that. And not a single one of you big red Nebraska fans said a word about it when they brought back Lawrence Phillips. The guy dragged his girlfriend down the stairs by her hair. Joe Mixon punched a girl in the face. And you guys all cheered when the guy was scoring touchdowns for you at Oklahoma. So spare me if I don't care what you guys think about what's happening at Texas Tech right now. Because this is my university. I had outrage for you guys, but I certainly wasn't for calling for we should never schedule OU again. We should never schedule Nebraska again. Give me a break. Get off your high horse and just admit the fact that you think Texas Tech is a real threat to you and your university getting into the club that you don't want Texas Tech to be a part of. Because, by the way, all we did was follow all the rules to do what we're doing. And, by the way, I'll say it again for now the 6th time. We're the only school of the 3 that Brendan Sorsby's been at that's provided any kind of support for the young man. I'm still waiting for you, Cincinnati.
Texter here says if this was 2 years ago, the recurring comment would be, all this to just go 5-7. But it's not. It's the bottom line. We got most interesting facts of the day next on 100.7 Score.
Getting to the point, but taking the scenic route to get there. This is the Bottom Line Podcast from 100.7 The Score.
It is time for the most interesting facts of the day, brought to you by Dos Equis and the most interesting man in the world, Chris Snead.
Mm-hmm.
Did you happen to know the beer that gets the worst overall rating in the world is Budweiser Select 55? Keystone Ice is second worst, followed by Natty Lights.
Bud Ice?
No, Budweiser Select 55.
Bud Select 55.
I don't think I've ever heard of that.
I've never even heard of it.
No surprise, Keystone and Natty Lights are down at the bottom.
Stones.
I remember a guy who used to love a Stone. He would say, let's go get a Stone. He was a volleyball dad.
Yeah. Snead, did you know that the average person burns 0.19 calories a minute when they're laughing a lot? Comes out to about 17 calories during a standard 90-minute comedy movie.
Nice. Okay. 0.9 calories?
0.19. Snead, did you know the tallest building in Wyoming is an 11-story office building in Cheyenne that's only 148 feet tall? It's the tallest building in Wyoming.
I think the tallest building in Maine is shorter than that.
Okay.
I think the tallest building in Maine is like only 6 stories. And it's in Portland, Maine. And the funny part about that is when you go to Maine and the big cruise ships show up, those are the tallest buildings in town. By a long way. You can see them from anywhere.
Snead, did you know some of the raptor sound effects in Jurassic Park were created from audio samples of tortoises getting it on?
Could have lived my whole life without knowing that.
But now you do. Snead, did you know nobody born after 1935 has ever walked on the moon? NASA astronaut Charles Duke was the one who was born the most recently, and that was in October of 1935. He's 90 and still alive and kicking. That is supposed to change next year.
Yeah, we're gonna go
to an Artemis mission that I believe When does that land?
I don't know the answer to that.
Are we on? Did they just circle the moon, or did they land this last time?
They just went around. They didn't land on it.
So then I think we've got one that lands, but they don't get out, and then we've got one that they land and get out. So there's 2 more missions, or 1 more in between before they step foot on the moon again. It's like a whole thing. All right, y'all continue to bring in any thoughts and comments on the Yates Flooring Center chat line. Did you see there's a freshman for Tennessee? Freshman golfer for Tennessee. He just finished his freshman year. He qualified for the U.S. Open and had no idea that the U.S. Open was next week.
Well,
someone had to tell him. It's like, what?
Yeah, you qualified for that. That's next week, by the way.
He was doing an interview. And I think this was on Golf Channel. And they informed him in the interview that, oh, by the way, he's like, wait, I didn't know it was next week. So he's having to make some travel plans after qualifying. Okay, back to the chat line. There's still quite a few. Why do we catch all the hate? Who else is really good at the NIL thing? Same school, Sorsby made the bets, and Indiana were irrelevant to national champions, but we're the villains?
Exactly.
Another one says, so since he has nothing to say, they started all this crap.
And I think that's interesting. I mean,
they reportedly were against Sorsby playing in the AD's meeting yesterday. So
yeah, they didn't have any problems Sorsby playing for them while he was doing this. I think this all stems. If you want to get back to the crux of this, I think this all stems back from the fact that Sorsby didn't pay back his buyout from them, and then because the timing, which I said in hour 1, the timing of the announcement of this was dubious at best. Literally a week after the transfer portal closed, so as to hurt Tech 2 different ways. The guy that they got can't play, and you can't go and get anybody else.
This text says, this is not the point at all. Betting on your own sport compromises the sport itself. NCAA is protecting the sport. Domestic violence, DUI, etc. Don't compromise the sport. Well, we are allowed to use our brain. We're allowed to use our brains. This is what I've been on from the get-go. Agree, disagree, I don't care, to be honest. I can look at this situation and say, yeah, Brendan Sorsby screwed up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, shouldn't have bet at all. Shouldn't have bet on his own team. But I can also look at it and say, dude had 0 effect on the games that he bet on his own team. This particular situation, he's a red shirt not playing in games, and he had 0 effect. Is there an advantage? Yeah, probably. But little to no more advantage than the volleyball coach had that bet on football and basketball that probably had insider info.
Yeah,
and they got 30%.
By the way.
So.
Didn't even mention that guy.
I think that, this is, my opinion is that, yes, times are different. These are not the Pete Rose days anymore. You can use your own brain on judgment with things. And if Brendan Sorsby had bet against his team, if there was point shaving going on, this would be a whole different conversation. If Brendan Sorsby had even bet on himself in some individual prop bet sorts of things, where he is trying to affect a game, this would be a whole different conversation. But there's been no burden of proof on any of that. Therefore, that's where I believe the punishment does not fit the crime in this situation. Now, people worry about Pandora's box, all of these things, fine, so be it. But we're allowed to judge situations case by case. The problem is those judging have 0 power.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not going to change until you get some Congress intervention. The hope is that the college football playoff excludes Tech. Is that likely? You would think they would want to remain neutral and only focused on seeding for the playoff.
There's a lot of people out there that hope that this this ends up costing Texas Tech because, in a way, we ought to be just patting ourselves on the back. Because, guess what? You've got they're not terrified of you. But, boy, I tell you what, you have become an issue for them. You have become an issue for University of Georgia. You have become an issue for Ohio State. You've become an issue for some blue bloods. And now they're thinking, how do we get these guys out of here? And Brendan Sorsby gave them an opening. And they're trying to kick the door in. Teams like Kansas State. Kansas State enjoyed a lot of time. They're a new blood. Mm-hmm. I mean, those guys, remember, Kansas State just recently got out of the cellar as the worst overall college football program in America history. This recently, within the last 10 years, just got out of the cellar of that. So they don't like seeing a new blood like us show up and start taking what was quote unquote theirs.
Raiders' dad says bingo choice SMU was given the death penalty for something that is now standard operating procedure. Times change.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to change with them.
And you know what? The NCAA somewhat lost its, they had a lot of power then. When they decided that they were never going to give the death penalty again.
Yeah, you lose some power.
You lost some power. And when they made it known we would never do that again, because that was always kind of out there. Hey, we can shut you down. And when they said we'll never do this again, we were like, well, what's the worst you're going to do? We'll self-report. We'll lose 20 scholarships, and then we'll skip a bowl this year.
Yeah. Well, Snead, thanks for hanging. Bottom line, we'll be back tomorrow. Hope you join us again then. Eventually this stuff will die off or, go dormant until the season starts, but don't know when that is. For Chris Snead, the birthday boy Jeff McGuire, Lucas, Evelina, I'm Chois Woodman. This has been The Bottom Line on 100.7 The Score. Head over to Tech Talk on Double T 97.3 next.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.
Well, bye.
This has been the Bottom Line Podcast from 100.7 The Score. Go to 100-7thescore.com for more from the Double T Sports Network.